who've been to the Gator, come inside right now and listen to the Lee brothers. Hartrick, McClendon, come on in.
Ladies and gentlemen, it all had to start somewhere. Mr. Bruce Lee. Exactly what happened. So the question is, do I need to be closer in here? The sound is bad. What does that mean? Cannot understand me. Is that better? Okay. Starting in spring of '62 when PK Gravely, my grandfather, gave me the guitar. And the question is, what was the motivation? Well, the motivation was in 1962, I was 5 feet 2 inches tall, had braces. All my friends were 6 feet 1 and jocks. I could not find a date or get a woman to go out with me to save my life. I figured I had to do something. I said, well, heck, Elvis gets women and he plays the guitar, but I can't do what Elvis does. And then I saw this group called the Kingston Trio. And I said, I think I can do that. In fact, that first song only had 2 chords in it. I can learn how to do that. And it's about a story that took place about 20 minutes from here. So if you know it, help me sing a verse. Hang down your head, come to me. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, come to me. Poor boy, you're bound to die. Better on a mountain where I sugar and often too. Better on the mountain, you know what they'll do is my life away. Now, boys, hang down your head, come to me. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, come to me. Poor boy, you're bound to die. Then one afternoon I came home, and there in the living room was Page and Miller. Well, they saw the results of my guitar playing, which I had good-looking women like Susan Strandberg hanging around me all the time. And they said, well, heck, if he can do that, so can we. Some people say I'm no count. Others say I'm no good. I'm just a natural born traveling man. Everybody, I'm gonna give a damn about a greenback collar. As I can. But a women's song and a good guitar, the only thing that I understand. Oh boy, the only thing that I understand. Are you there? Well, about that time, we all graduated from high school, went off to college, and we went in different directions. I got into Hank Williams. Page started playing weird songs with chords I don't know how to play even to today. Miller became the only white guy in an otherwise all-black R&B party band in Chapel Hill. Winston went to Colorado and spent 4 years trying to learn how to play In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. Haynes never did learn how to play the guitar. I always felt guilty that when I first got my guitar, he was only 6 years old, and I told him if he touched it, I'd kill him. So he did learn how to play the piano and the harmonica and how to sing harmony. One Christmas night, we were all together, and the saint of Jerry Jeff came down upon us all at the same time and touched us, and we realized there was one man who could unite us musically, Jerry Jeff Walker. And that night, the Lee Brothers band was born. by a vote of 4-1. And we stepped out into the living room of the Harrison's Christmas Day party, Christmas night party, and this is what we heard. Well, when you're down on your luck and you ain't got a buck, in London you're gone. Even London Bridge is falling down and moved to Arizona, and I know why. And I'll substantiate the rumor that the English sense of humor is drier than the Texas sand. You can look good golden and my heart beats long. You could be home in a Texas farm. Everybody knows this. I wanna go home with the armadillo. Country music from Amarillo and Abilene. The prettiest women and the prettiest women you've ever seen. Well, you know, it's hard to believe that we've played that song about 1,500 times down at the Alligator River, but we were drunk when we did it down there, and we're sober here, so it's a little harder to keep the words straight. But we love singing that song down there on the porch. But then one year, Winston brought down a new fella. He was a younger guy. I didn't know him that well. I knew he was a good-looking system. But he started singing out there on that porch, and I said, my God, this guy will draw women like... So, ladies and gentlemen, we brought into the band Mr. Fred Frobo. Thank you very much. Everyone tonight knows the sweet time lane. Come to some meeting, cause the sheriff's got the sweet chickens and such kind of time when he was there. One day his daddy took a $10 bill, stuck it in his hand. He said, I know that you're headed for trouble, son, and your mama wouldn't understand. So he took that money and his mother's old face, left without a word of thanks. He put it in with a gang and then for the town, and he took the robbing back. Well, you can see by this time, we were an extremely large band. And we figured, well, heck, we need to take advantage of Millen Woodard's vast repertoire of beach music, because I love to watch the girls dance to beach music. Don't you? But if you're going to do beach music, you need a horn section, and you need some percussion. So, we went out and we recruited Mr. Jim Bailey, as we call him Mr. Sax, and JT, King of the Skins, Tomlinson. You don't know how I feel. You didn't know how I feel. No As you can tell, this took a pretty big number of years to bring this band all together, and by this time, we were starting to sport some gray hair and beer bellies and glasses. We figured, well, heck, if IBM needs to have a management succession plan, the Lee Brothers Band needs to have a talent regeneration plan. Plus, we were in danger of losing the vote should the name vote ever come back up again. And we needed a good-looking young guy to help attract a younger crowd of women. One man fit the bill. You may know him as Page Lee II, but we know him as the Deuce. Well, by now we're both large and legendary, so we're the legendary large Lee Brothers Band. We needed our own song. I mean, even if we had to write it ourselves. So one night, or one morning, we literally stole this song from the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, who you'll hear later, changed a few of the words around, and it became the Lee Brothers Band theme song. sticking to it. All right, we're going to do one more song in this set. And I mentioned the patron saint of the Lee Brothers Band who brought us all together, Jerry Jeff Walker. Well, you know, if you know anything about Jerry Jeff, you know this song. He was born in Oklahoma. His wife's name was Betty Lou Thelma Lynn. Everybody. He's not what he's doing. His mother's better what he is. And it's up against the wall, redneck mother. Mother who has raised a son so well, so well, so well. He's 34 and drinking in honky tonk. Just kicking his ass and raising hell.
Sure does like Falstaff beer. They like to chase it down a little wild turkey liquor. Got a 57 GMC pickup truck. Got a gun rack, go to rope and needle up to sticker. Up against the wall, redneck mother.
Let me hear it out there.
Mother who has raised a son so well. 34 and drinking in honky tonk. Just kicking his ass and raising hell.
All right, let's Oh yeah! All right, we need everybody to a little soft here. We need a choral ooh. This is where you can help us out with a choral ooh. Get ready. Here we go. Ooh, sounds so beautiful. And it's for the mud flaps. So you can get me for my pickup truck. Always for the oil right on my heart. T is for trouble, which is what I'd give him if I said what I was going to say. H is for haggard. And E, well, for redneck. Mud up against the wall, redneck brother. Mother who has raised the son so well. So well, so well, so well. He's a 34 and drinking in honky tonk. What you doing down there? Just a kicking hippies' asses and raising hell. Marco Polo, all right, let us hear you. Sounds so beautiful. What's he doing down there? All right, the band's going. One more time on the good cup against the wall, redneck mother. A young lady, mother who has raised a son so well, so well, so well. so embarrassed and ashamed at the fact that I misspelled mother. So maybe we'll play the song again later on tonight and try to get it right. But in the meantime, I'd like to introduce two people, one at a time rather, who actually can spell. And then we're going to bring on incredible talent. First, Mr. Hainsley. And there you have it. There's the story of the Lebos Band. Now the story of the Western Classic. Can everybody hear? Can everybody hear? Walter, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? All right, most of you here today know this story. Thank you. Most of you here know this story. About 24 years ago, at the age of 5, our daughter Elizabeth Okay, how do you do that? 24 years ago, at the age of 5, our daughter Elizabeth was diagnosed with RP, retinitis pigmentosa. 2 words totally foreign to Liz and me. That was not a good day. Days of deep concern and bewilderment ensued, but very quickly, friends and family rallied around us, almost all of whom are here today. Rally to our side, offering support, encouragement, and your time. And out of the ashes of despair arose this great phoenix to be known as the Western Classic and Barbecue. Okay. We now just think of it as the classic. When we conceived the very first event back in 1990, we set our goal to net $5,000 so that we wouldn't be disappointed. Few people had heard of Jerry Jeff Walker, much less RP. But Eastern North Carolina is not anything if it's not a community that comes together to support one another, so many of whom are here today. And obviously they know a good party when they see one, because we shattered that goal and netted over $40,000. Well, our mother said, well, that was nice, but we don't need to do that again. And what I'm sure is the only time we ever disagreed with our mom, we realized this was something special. And we could and we should do our part to help find the treatment and cures for RP, macular degeneration, and other retinal degeneration diseases that affect so many. We were also joined back then by our Charlotte friends who started the Slam Dunk for RP and a golf tournament. And then Greensboro contingent continued the tradition of the Slam Dunk for RP, and I see several of them in the crowd. And now, finally, by the many friends all over the Carolinas and the Southeast and parts north and west, as far as California and New York and other parts, to bring the event here to Linden. Okay. And I'm very pleased to say that, like our first Western Classic, we have shattered our goals for this year's Western Classic, and we will raise well over $100,000 and close to $150,000 net. That's net. And that's thanks to all of you. I'll shift gears a little bit. I've been blessed to be mentored and inspired by a a number of great people. But the two who have inspired me the most are here today. We'll hear from one of those a little later. But this time I'd like to introduce the other who would like to say a few words. Our daughter, Elizabeth Lee Troutman.
But got really emotional now, so y'all just bear with me. It's pretty awesome to be a Lee kid. And I know for a fact I would not be where I am today without my mom, my dad, my sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins, and all the other pseudo aunts and uncles all around us. And I think that Jerry Jeff said it best. He told Chris Wall something that I think is really appropriate for today. He said, if you just want to be a star, fate will beat you like a gong. If you want to pick up the old guitar, do it for the sake of the song. And that resonates today for two reasons. One is that all of the people who have put hours and hours for years and years into this event don't do it to be stars. They don't want any recognition at all, but in reality, they're all rock stars. And the second is that he said, do it for the sake of the song. And I think a lot of people have different songs that give them the reason to come here to fight blindness and to rally around someone facing vision loss. But also to rekindle friendships, to grow friendships, to listen to really good music. And they're really not words that I can use to express my gratitude for the things that this event have given me and all of the support that everyone has shown me. So thank you. And with that, I'd like to introduce one of the greatest country songwriters of this century, Sean Camp.
Wow, that was amazing. While Sean Camp is taking the stage, let me just say that we first heard of Sean Camp by the fact that he has co-written a number of songs with Guy Clark and played on several of Guy Clark's albums and live concerts, Guy Clark being a big hero of ours. And we figure if you're good enough to write and sing and play with Guy Clark, well, you're good enough to come to the Western Classic, that's for sure. But we were all on a brothers and wives trip in Nashville last January. We walked into this wonderful place there called, I think it's called the Station Inn, and because we knew Sean was there, and he literally blew us away. He blew us away so much that his music and half a dozen or so Budweisers prompted us, when he took his break, for Haynes to get up and go up and hire him to come here today. And these are a band of incredible musicians. Sean is a fabulous songwriter who's written songs for all kinds of people.
Thought he had a long chain on. Taylor Driftwood song there. 20 minutes we had this song. Garth Brooks had a big #1 that summer on it. It's called Two Pina Coladas. I was feeling the blues. I was watching the news. This fella came on the TV. He said, I'm telling you, science is true. Everybody all comes from the sea. Well, that got me going, but not even knowing. I packed right up and rolled down. Now I'm gonna roll and swear on my soul. Tonight I'm gonna paint this town. So bring me to Pina Coladas. One for each hand. Set sail, Captain Morgan. Oh, and never leave dry land. These roads I forgot, I buried them in the sand. They bring me to Pina Coladas. She said goodbye to her good time man. Now I gotta say that the wind and the waves, the woman and the moon are wicked loud. Eases my mind by leaving behind is in my working routine. I got a smile that goes on for miles with no inclination to roam. I've got to say, I think I've got to stay, 'cause this is feeling more and more like home. So take me to Pina Coladas. One for each hand. Out in Ireland, Rodney Crowley. This promoter comes up to him and says, I've got a psychic, she's on tour with you, she wants to meet you. He says, okay. They meet and they talk for a few minutes. Towards the end of the conversation, this is a totally different psychic. She says, and oh yeah, your friend wants me to tell you he's still playing the big trombone. And so we wrote this song. It goes like, well, I'm in heaven's ragtime band playing the big trombone. On streets of gold in the promised land playing the big trombone. I bet I danced 1,000,000 miles, made lots of good folks smile, tapping my toes on the while playing the big trombone. The angels love to hear it, me playing the big trombone. Seems they always gather near it, but I'm playing the big trombone. And oh, what a sound, tone so nice and round. I'm really getting down, playing the big trombone.
I love that.
You ought to hear me when I let it slide, playing the big trombone. Over on the other side, playing a big trombone. St. Peter smiled and said, come on in, son, we've been wondering where you've been. Hope you got your second wind, 'cause you're playing a big trombone. When Gabriel blows his trumpet, boys will be playing a big trombone. Making a joyful noise and playing the big trombone. When Judgment Day breaks down true and the saints come strolling up 2 by 2, much. I really appreciate that. All right. Out in Ireland, Rodney Crowley. This promoter comes up to him and says, I've got a psychic. She's on tour with you. She wants to meet you. He says, okay. They meet and they talk for a few minutes. Towards the end of the conversation, this is a totally different psychic. She says, and oh yeah, your friend wants me to tell you he's still playing the big trombone. And so we wrote this song. It goes like, well, I'm in heaven's ragtime band playing the big trombone. On streets of gold in the promised land playing the big trombone. I bet I danced a million miles, made lots of good folks smile, tapping my toes all the while playing the big trombone. The angels love to hear it, me playing the big trombone. Seems they always gather near it, but I'm playing the big trombone. And oh, what a sound, tone so nice and round. I'm really getting down, playing the big trombone.
I love that.
You ought to hear me when I let it slide, playing a big trombone. Over on the other side, playing a big trombone. St. Peter smiled and said, come on in, son, we've been wondering where you've been. Hope you got your second wind, cause you're playing a big trombone. When Gabriel blows his trumpet, boys, I'll be playing a big trombone. I'll be making a joyful noise and playing the big trombone. When Judgment Day breaks time true and the saints come strolling up 2 by 2 and the glory bound train whistles right on through, I'll be playing a big trombone. Be playing a big trombone. Playing a big trombone. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. All right.
Say hey!
Have finished eating. If you've got your plate, you can bring your plate in here.
Hey guys.
Just a couple of minutes. We'll get my brother Haynes up here, who's got a special guest for a brief few words. While we're waiting for that, let me just thank y'all again for all being here.
Yeah, sit there.
You made it a fabulous day.
Hey, get out of my way.
Having a good time.
Get out of my way.
Having a good time. We started this thing to do a great time with great music, with great friends for a great cause. So thank you for 23 years.
That's all. We're all the way. We get here.
Okay. I know this might be difficult, but I'll try to get everybody's attention, please. Before we bring on the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, we've got a very special guest here tonight. But one more thing I want to say is, we talked earlier about the history of the Western Classic. Tonight, in this event, I can't take the time to thank all the people who have contributed
to this event and from the events we've had in the past. I will repeat what I said earlier in case folks who didn't hear it. Tonight we have raised close to $150,000 net. That's an all-time record for the Classic. And over the life of the Western Classic for the last 23 years, the sum of 23 years is close to $1.5 million. There's so many people to thank, but I can't do that. So I want to thank all of you here and all of the host compadres, everyone that has contributed for the last 23 years. And there's so many individuals who have been there from the very beginning. Millard Woodard, J.T. Tomlinson, all my brothers and family. It means so much that y'all were there from the very beginning. It's now a real honor and privilege. I mentioned earlier tonight about two inspirations. You heard from my daughter Elizabeth. The other inspiration for me in my life has been Gordon Gunn. Gordon founded the Foundation Fighting Blindness in 1971 and has been its chairman ever since. He is the single most influential driving force behind not only the Foundation's growth, but also the tremendous research success we have already begun to see in the field of retinal diseases. Gordon's a businessman, former owner of several professional sports teams, including the Cleveland Cavaliers of the NBA, a director on the boards of Kellogg and Corning, among others, a successful entrepreneur and investor. He brings a tremendous sense of urgency and business discipline to the Foundation. He is a visionary in the truest sense of the word. But beyond that, I am privileged to call him my friend. We are honored to have his wonderful wife, Luli, and him here for the Western Classic. Please welcome Gordon Gunn.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much, Haynes, for that wonderful introduction, and most of all, thank you for all you and all of your family have done for the Western Classic, and you personally have done for the Foundation Fighting Blindness. Howdy, everybody. It's great being here with you. What a terrific party this is. And I'd just like to take a minute, first of all, to thank the Lee family, Haynes and Liz. Haynes has been not only a tremendous driving force behind the Western Classic, but he also is a major leader in the Foundation Fighting Blindness national effort, which I'm going to take a moment to speak to you about later. But first, Haynes is a great friend as well of ours. My wife Luli, who's a co-founder, is here next to me. We've known the Lee family for a long time and have tremendous regard for them and respect and friendship. Liz Lee is also a major factor in this, and I'm very happy, Liz, if you can hear me, to tell you that last week the Board of Directors of the Foundation Fighting Blindness elected you as a national trustee, and congratulations to you for this well-deserved honor. Congratulations, Liz. And you all heard Elizabeth talk earlier. Now, Elizabeth, when she was a little more than 5 after she'd been diagnosed, my wife and I had the first opportunity to meet her. We've gotten to know her since because we live in Princeton, New Jersey, and she forsook the UNC ritual of the Lee family and went to Princeton. I didn't go there, I just admire people who do. And we got to know her well and didn't see a lot of her because she had lots of better things to do while she was in college. But what a remarkable person she's turned out to be, a really accomplished young woman who not only has a wonderful husband and two terrific young children, but also is at UNC Law School, so she's gone back to the fold and is doing very well. I'm told she's at the top of her class there. Elizabeth, thank you for the inspiration you give all of us. I'm embarrassed to say that I think because Haynes wanted me to speak and things got a little confused with the order of things, that you're going to miss hearing the great Lee Brothers Band again unless you want to stay late, and maybe you'll get another shot at it. But let's give them a round of applause. Bruce, Paige,
What?
and then Jim and Fred and JT, the official artists of the group, the drummer, all of them. Thank you guys, you're terrific. And it's really a family affair, this Lee Brothers Band, and that's really what the Foundation Fighting Blindness has been too. 42 years ago now, when my wife and I and some other families started a foundation to find treatments and cures for retinal degenerative diseases, we did that as a family, and we started out with one mission, one goal. A lot of diseases are involved. Retinitis pigmentosa, which Elizabeth and I both are blind. I'm blind from. She has, fortunately, still some sight. Age-related macular degeneration is a major disease focus of ours. There are a number of these, and altogether they result in loss of sight and, in some cases, blindness for 10 million Americans. So it's that large an effort that we're working on, and many times that number worldwide. I'm very happy to say that over the years, through what we have learned and the hard work and effort of an awful lot of people, hundreds of thousands of people around the country, we have come a long ways, and we have now made some very significant advancements towards finding these treatments and cures. We are actually, through gene therapy, treating and curing sight for more than 50 young adults who were born blind and are in a trial right now that have had sight, significant amounts of sight restored. We also had a lot to do with the development of Lucentis, which is a drug for people with the wet form of age-related macular degeneration, and has led to those people having a much better quality of life and being able to see again. That goes on and on. We're doing an awful lot in the areas of gene therapy, stem cell therapy. In 2006, stem cells were first developed that they could be turned into retinal cells. Now there are 4 clinical trials going on in the area of stem cells, pharmaceutical drugs, neurotrophic factors. The point is, a lot of progress and great success because of the work of people like Haynes and Liz Lee and all of you who've helped make this Western Classic a success. Even though maybe the Western Classic isn't going to continue, I'm happy to tell you we're continuing on with our effort. And one of the things that is very important to know, in addition to the 15 trials we have underway now, clinical trials and many more in the pipeline, is that our work affects and impacts the work of a lot of other central nervous system or diseases of the brain, like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. The retina is the back of the eye. It's separated from the front. It's the only part of the eye that's part of the brain, and it's the only part of the brain that you can see from outside the body. So whatever's done in the way of work that research we're working on is having a tremendous impact on the work that's being done on other central nervous system or neurological diseases. So there's a real add-on effect to what we're doing. In any case, we are going to continue this effort till we finish the job. We are starting a major gifts campaign. We'd love all of you to join in on that. we'll be back to you about it. But that's the campaign. We call it Envision 2020, the first campaign we've held. And it's all designed to complete the job and end blindness, to finish the job. So thank you all very much for being part of this. We are having a ball, and we hope you are. And let's get back to the party. Thank you all.
That was awesome. What a great man.
Thank you, Gordon, and what an honor it's been having me here. I've told Gordon that this might be his last chance to see the Lee Brothers Band live, and he jumped all over that opportunity. We're so grateful you're here and so grateful for everything. I'm going to turn it over now to my brother Bruce to introduce the main event.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you all for being here. It's a real pleasure. We started off with Jerry Jeff Walker, and of course, as many of you know, Jerry Jeff Walker wrote the song Mr. Bojangles, and he did pretty good with it himself. And then one day, he's riding along the highway, and he kept hearing this song on the radio by this other group, and he figured, I'm going to get a lot of royalties there. So he was happy about that, but the rest of the world was happy that Nitty Gritty Dirt Band chose to record Mr. Bojangles and do such a splendid job with it. We're delighted, therefore, to kind of close the circle, if you will, with the circle be unbroken, and introduce to you multi-Grammy, multi-awards. There's no telling how many awards these guys have won. They also created probably one of the most influential albums in the last 50 years, the Will the Circle Be Unbroken album, followed by number 2 and number 3. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've talked long enough. The Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
Howdy, howdy, having a good time tonight? How about the Lee Brothers? How about my buddy Sean Cannon on his great horns? We can lower the bar for you right now. Mighty happy to be here.
more time for Sean Camp. If you're not familiar with that record, it was an album that we were a bunch of kids living out west, and we came to Nashville and made a record with our heroes. People like Doc Watson, we are in North Carolina, Doc Watson. And the legendary Earl Scruggs also. But we learned this song.
This is so freaking cool.
I know, we're so close.
We have video.
Alright, this is an old Jimmy Martin song, King of Bluegrass. It's called My Walking Shoes Don't Fit Me Anymore. My walking shoes don't fit me anymore. My walking shoes don't fit me anymore. Down the side of town, down the road. My walking shoes don't fit me anymore. Well, it's a long way from here over yonder. My feet got getting mighty sore. I ain't coming back, you set my mind to wander. My walking shoes don't fit me anymore. My walking shoes don't fit me anymore. My walking shoes don't fit me anymore. Down the side of town, but I won't be around. My walking shoes don't fit me anymore. Come on, Jimmy. All right, Sean, come on. I'm a long time gone from you, baby. You'll never hear me knocking on your door. Sure did once, but I was crazy. My walking shoes don't fit me anymore. My walking shoes don't fit me anymore. My walking shoes don't fit me anymore. Down the side of town, but I won't be around. My walking shoes don't fit me anymore. Come on, Daddy. Shoes don't fit me anymore. Woo! My walking shoes don't fit me anymore. Down the side of town, but I won't be around. My walking shoes don't fit me anymore. John's brother once told us if the banjo was any good, the Beatles would have used it. So, in line with that, we're going to try to give you a little Liverpool with your grass tonight.
Oh man.
Kick it off, Ringo.